Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We are exploring the foundations of the ancient world and taking a direct look at the ultimate blueprint of modernity. We're going to take a journey to see exactly how human history transformed from early, simple, scattered communities into the massively complex structures that make up the world we live in right now. Let's dive right into this by starting with an incredibly simple but huge question. Have you ever actually wondered how human civilization just began? I want you to take a second and picture a world way before computers, before smartphones, and before modern sprawling cities ever existed. Thousands of years ago, people started making these monumental shifts. They began building communities, creating governments, and developing brand new inventions basically from scratch. It really prompts us to consider, where did our modern technology, our laws, and our societies actually originate? Well, the answer lies entirely in our past. So, here is our itinerary for today's world tour. We'll start with the dawn of human civilization, then we'll travel to Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, China, and finally, we'll look at the echoes in the modern world. All right, our very first stop brings us to Mesopotamia, laws and letters. We can really think of them as the ultimate lawmakers. Now, you have to remember, all of these incredible early societies we're visiting today didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They were deeply, fundamentally tied to their geography, specifically ancient rivers. Think of rivers as the ultimate incubators for human progress. Settling right smack between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in present-day Iraq, early humans found incredibly rich soil and, obviously, critical access to water. This specific region became what historians call the cradle of civilization. It was literally the birthplace for organized governments and large cities. Farming became so amazingly successful here, and that successful agriculture was the true catalyst for building a thriving, permanent society. And to manage this rapidly growing society, they had to innovate. So they developed cuneiform, which is one of the world's very first writing systems. They used it to record their laws, keep track of all their trade, and document historical events. So think about this. Every single time you jot down a quick note on a piece of paper or shoot off a text message today, you are directly echoing the groundbreaking innovations of these ancient people. It's wild. So what exactly were they writing down with this new tool? Well, things like the Code of Hammurabi. Created by King Hammurabi, this is one of the earliest written legal systems ever discovered in history. By actually carving laws into solid stone, they completely shifted power from just the random whims of rulers to a codified system that the whole society could actually see and follow. It established the bedrock concept of the rule of law. That is a massive leap forward for human organization, and it really set the fundamental stage for all of our modern legal systems. Okay, let's move on to our second major civilization. We're looking at ancient Egypt, monumental engineering. Let's talk about the builders. Traveling over to northeastern Africa, we find another mighty river taking center stage. Fueled by the essential water and the massive transportation network of the Nile River, Egyptian society didn't just survive, it truly flourished for thousands of years. And their advancements were incredibly broad. They were deeply sophisticated thinkers who pioneered mathematics, medicine, and engineering, along with hieroglyphics, which, of course, is their famous picture-based writing system that used beautiful symbols to represent words and ideas. They made these huge, sweeping leaps in science and culture, proving to us that they were much more than just tomb builders. But having said that, their engineering projects are undeniably spectacular. Take the Great Pyramid of Giza. These colossal tombs were built for their powerful rulers, the pharaohs. I really just want you to marvel at the monumental scale of this engineering for a second. Using advanced mathematics and just sheer raw human effort, no power tools, no modern cranes, they constructed something that has lasted for millennia. To this very day, these structures remain some of the most impressive feats ever built by humanity. Our tour continues as we head further east. Here we are at the Indus Valley urban planners. These guys were our ancient civil engineers. So now we're moving into present-day Pakistan and northwestern India, and we find these major, bustling ancient cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. And if you contrast Egypt's monumental tombs built for powerful pharaohs with what's happening in the Indus Valley, a striking difference emerges. What made them so unique was their surprisingly modern focus on practical urban planning. The Indus Valley poured its engineering genius into grid-patterned streets and highly sophisticated drainage systems that were designed for everyday citizens. While other civilizations were busy glorifying their rulers in stone, these incredibly skilled craftsmen were building practical civil infrastructure for their people. Basically, indoor plumbing thousands of years ago. But here is a absolutely fascinating twist. It's a complete unsolved mystery. Despite having this highly organized society, the advanced city grids, the complex trade routes, their language remains entirely unknown to us. Historians and archaeologists still cannot decode their ancient writing today. It's crazy. We can clearly see their brilliance in their city planning, but their exact words remain a mystery, entirely locked away in history. Let's move to our fourth stop and see how this all builds into our global story: ancient China, inventions and ideals. These were the innovators. Settling along the banks of the mighty Yellow River, ancient China stands as one of the world's longest-lasting civilizations. They carry this continuous thread of culture that survived throughout the ages, and they contributed vital technologies that completely accelerated global progress. They invented paper, they pioneered silk production, and they eventually sparked a massive wave of global tech influence. Just think about paper for a second. It's such a simple, everyday item for us today, but its creation profoundly influenced human history. It made communication, record-keeping, and trade infinitely easier all around the globe. A real game changer. But they didn't just invent physical items. They cultivated enduring ideals, too. Ancient philosophers like Confucius embedded values like respect, education, and responsibility deep into the foundation of their society. These weren't just passing thoughts or trends. These were deep principles that shaped their world, and they continue to heavily influence Chinese culture and society to this very day. And that brings us perfectly to our final wrap-up section: Echoes in the Modern World, the Blueprint of Today. So we have traveled the globe today, but the really important takeaway here is that these ancient civilizations didn't just disappear into some dusty history books. Their early achievements in agriculture, law, science, and tech are directly connected back to the conveniences and structures of the modern daily lives we live right now. It all really comes down to how river geography birthed the pillars of our modern world. You have Mesopotamia on the Tigris and Euphrates, giving us our very first writing and laws. Ancient Egypt on the Nile, providing foundational mathematics and that mind-blowing monumental engineering. The Indus Valley on the Indus River, showing us the first true urban planning and city grids. And ancient China on the Yellow River, giving us paper and an enduring philosophy. It all comes back to how people use their river environments to overcome massive challenges and build lasting communities. Ultimately, understanding the past helps us truly appreciate our progress. So, it begs the question, what foundations are we building for the future? We've seen how studying history reveals the absolute blueprint of the modern world. Those ancient people built the very foundation we stand on today. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into our collective past. I want to leave you with a challenge. Consider our own era's legacy. Hundreds or thousands of years from now, what will future historians say was the foundation we laid? Keep learning, keep exploring, and